members to Mr. Morelos from the audience. What budget conditions would it take for you to support a renewal of Measure E in 2016? What budget conditions would it take for you to support a renewal of Measure E?
I think that's an easy one. Because when Measure E was first introduced, I had the understanding that the money collected from Measure E was going to go for police and fire. And I think that's a no-brainer in regards to why I and other citizens in Tracy would vote for it. And I feel that if you're going to continue with Measure E, put it back on the ballot and have the people vote on it, you really have to be clear and honest with the people of Tracy. Where is that money going to go? I understand that we appointed a committee to oversee that, and the committee wanted to really make sure where that money was going, but there was no way they could track that money. I remember that. And the people of Tracy remember those kind of things. And also when bonds were put out to the people of Tracy and things were not clear, people voted them down. But as you can see, with the bond of the Kimball High School, it succeeded because people can actually see the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Young.
So you asked a tough question. Under what budget conditions would I support the renewal of Measure E here in Tracy? Now, as many of you know who were here 2 years ago, I did not support Measure E because I felt that at that particular time, and I still feel at this particular time, that all measures have not been taken in order to tax ourselves, to ask us to put further tax on us. Now, we have come as a community to vote, and of course it was passed. It was passed by the majority, so that the majority has spoken to say that yes, we would take this particular hit in order to get us out of this pit. So now it is on the current council, and over the next couple of years before it sunsets, and actually almost 4 years, that it will be on the council to make sure that we give the directives and we help and we push so that we will be able to balance the budget. So I am not looking forward to a time or any conditions that will push me to say, yes, we need to continue to tax our citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Birdsall.
I voted for and was on the committee of Measure E, and I thought it was necessary to keep our fire and police intact. As we know, other cities lost a great number of people during that time, and I think it's worked. But on the other hand, we have 3 years left. We have plenty of time to get ourselves in a budget position. Now, if we get to that point and something needs to be done again, and one of the things I keep thinking about is the long list of capital improvements that we need in the city. You know, maybe we have to look at it for that. Maybe we need to have a little money put aside for capital improvements, again, where we don't run into an animal shelter that is way, way overdue. But just to raise the tax to try to keep balance in the budget, no, I don't think that's necessary. I think we need to still look at cuts in income. Otherwise, I'm not really going to, I can't sit here and say that I would vote for it. You know, I really have to be shown that the need is there.
Thank you. Councilman?
People ask me this question frequently about, oh, son of Measure E. And I said, you know, I don't even want to talk about it, because if you get to the point that you're having to consider that question, it means the measures to balance the budget under Measure E within the timeline prescribed have been an abject failure. And I'm committed that we not fail on that count. But since you asked the question, I will answer it. I would be very reluctant to support an extension of Measure E as we see it. And Measure E was put in place specifically, not for police and fire, public safety, but for the general fund. If the voters were to consider, and I'm not saying that I would advocate putting this forward, but from whatever source it would come, I would say if you're going to follow up on Measure E with some sort of enhanced sales tax, it should not be a half cent, it should reduce to a quarter cent or an eighth cent, and it should be focused on specifically either capital improvement, so it's very clear what it's being used for, or perhaps earmarked for some sort of ongoing operational cost for specifically identified facilities, something that would be very, very clear. And the difference is Measure E, because it was a general fund expense, did not require the supermajority that a specific tax would take. And if it ever got to that point, I hope it won't, we're considering a sales tax measure, that it would be specific and will require a higher majority to pass. But my first preference, my goal, is that when Measure E expires, we're either in good shape or close enough to being in good shape that the remaining reserves would carry us over until we were where we had to be operating in the black. So, no on Son of Measure E at this point.
Thank you. Mr. Mann.
Thank you. When Measure E sunsets in 4 years, it will be the end of Measure E. Many of you have mentioned I have a Master's of Science in Corporate and International Finance. I have quite a bit of experience with Measure E, and I have to tell you that just a couple months ago in City Council, the Oversight Committee did give a report. However, what we did not receive is actually a measure from the committee outlining the details where exactly this money is being spent. It's something that you as taxpayers and I deserve, clearly. Measure E, I'm sorry, Measure S here gives very specifics to the school, and it really details how it's benefited the schools. I believe that the city budget should be ran like a family budget. You don't have the additional dollars. As a family, we can't take that vacation. We can't drive out of town. We can't buy the nicer car. And sometimes it means putting kids in, in the same pair of shoes that maybe they just slightly outgrown. But the thing is, we have to make cuts as a family because we don't have the ability to just go taxing ourselves. And unfortunately, in this environment, we can't work necessarily more because jobs are our scarce resource. Measure E will sunset, and in 4 years, as a city councilman, I'll make sure that over the next 4 years that we do our job with Measure E. Dollars are spent where they're appropriated to go. That's the budget and protecting the safety for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.